Hi, Bestie. In today's video, I'm going to deep dive into my paycheck budget and discuss that almost $17,000 expense. So guys, let's get into it. Hi, Bestie. Welcome to my page. If you're new here, welcome. So glad that you're here. If you've been here before, welcome back. So guys, let's get into my paycheck budget to close out one and start a new one. All right, so let's get into this paycheck budget right here. Okay, so my income from my sales, so shoe charts mostly, and a few printable challenges is $243.82. So I'm going to jot down that amount for the actual income. And now let's get into the bills and the expenses. So my bills are fine, but now I need to get into my expenses here. I had mentioned, guys, that I had to take $16,903.36 from repairs. And I end up paying that out of my brokerage. And that comes from last year when the tree fell on my house. I had to pay to get all of that removed. And what I did, guys, I took a line of credit from my portfolio, my investment portfolio, to cover that. And then I had some other home repairs that I had to do. And I used the money from my brokerage account. So as a result, I had to sell some stocks in my cash reserve, my cash amount that I had in the balance. I took that out to cover that expense. So what I need to do, I do need to adjust my income so I can reconcile. And because it was income, I had to take it out from my brokerage account. I'm going to add that amount into my income. So now for this particular paycheck budget, my income is $17,147.18. Now, I wish that was my income. Now, that would have been a blessing. I never had that much for an income. But before I can reconcile my budget, I need to jot that down. And then I'm going to add my actual amount for that. That's $16,903.36. Home repairs. And also, I made an Amazon purchase for $32.63. And I can say a lesson learned that I need to have more money saved to cover home situations, because that's a big chunk out of my portfolio. Now, I'm glad that I was able to take money from that to pay off the home repairs, but because my income is so low, I couldn't pay that back all to cover that. So I wouldn't have to touch my investments and sell some stocks from that. So that's a lesson learned from that. So let me jot down my totals for the week. So right now I am looking for a full-time job because I need to replenish my brokerage account, but also I need to have enough money saved so when emergency arises. Home ownership is no joke. Okay, so now that I have my income, my bills and expenses, and how much I saved for this particular paycheck, let's see what my remaining balance is. So hopefully something come through. I hadn't been looking for any accounting jobs, not full-time. I've been looking like for data entry, customer service type of jobs, which I have been unsuccessful at. So we shall see. So my remaining balance is $10.83. Now I am grateful that I did have the money in my brokerage account because if I didn't, guys, I would be screwed. So I am grateful for that, but I am disappointed in the fact that's money I no longer have, or money in my portfolio that I no longer have. So kind of disappointed in that, because my whole thing with my investments is to have, so when I retire, I have that money, you know? But I'm just glad I had that. I had the cash reserves there, and I was able, just so one, well, it wasn't one stock, but it's an investment that I no longer have, and I no longer have that cash reserve. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into my new paycheck budget. Okay, so my carry forward amount is $10.83. And on my website, I did get a huge shoe charm order, and it was for peer review, and Grambling. So that's $131.54 on my website. And then I did have a few sales with the printable saving challenges, but majority of my sales typically are my shoe charms. And then I did get some planner sales as well. Well, cash envelope system sales. Thank you for supporting my shop. Okay, so, and then Etsy, I sold some HBCU educated shoe charms. Let me mark this actual amount off. Let me wipe it out just in case I do get some more sales. So Etsy is $10.23. All right. And make sure. And then my daughter, she gave me $75. Okay, so that's it. Let's add all of those together. Hopefully all is well with you and yours. We're halfway through the month of August. So how are you doing with your budget, with your savings? Leave that in the comments. My major thing so far this month is having to take the money from my portfolio to cover home repairs expenses that I had. And my learning lesson is, if I do have to get a line of credit from my investments, my portfolio, I need to make sure that I have, or that I'm able to make payments, so I don't have to eventually pull it from my portfolio and have to sell stocks. That's the lesson learned from me. So my goal now is to get a full-time accounting job, something that I wasn't gonna do, because I wanted something like customer service or data entry. And I even revamped my resume, removed my degrees and all that kind of stuff. But I guess I need to get back into accounting. So pray for me that all works well, because I have to replenish my portfolio, but also I need to save more money, because with the low income, I'm not saving to the capacity that I need to. So my bills this month was Google and Prime. Alright, so let's add the bills up. So that comes up to be $41.99 for my bills. So let's jot that down. Oh, hold up, guys. Hold up. I forgot. I did end up ordering Jane's Agenda anniversary box, but I don't remember the exact amount. So I'm gonna I think I'm gonna estimate it. I can't remember how much it was, but I'm gonna estimate it to be $78. And I would just have to come back and give you the actual amounts. when I close out this particular paycheck budget. So my total bills and expenses is $119.99. Okay. So let's deduct that from my income for this particular paycheck budget. And so that will leave me with $107 left I can put towards savings challenge. But guys, I went to the ATM already and I think I took $120 out the bank. I took $120 out the bank. So I took over what I have available to cash stuff for the week. Cause I didn't think about, when I went to the ATM, I forgot all about this Jane agenda. So I need to deposit money back into the bank to cover the variance, since I took out more than what I needed. But so yeah, this is the money that I already took out the bank. And you know what? I guess that's the problem that comes up with me going to the ATM before actually doing my budget and doing the cash allocations, the breakdowns, like I should be doing, but I've been winging it. And because I winging it, I took out more than I supposed to. So what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and jot this amount down here. And let me go ahead and jot down my totals. The $227.60 for income. And then for my bills, $118.99. And let me make sure I write down the right total for my savings. Yes, I'm gonna write $107.61 to make that a zero base for that. But like I said, I need to deposit some money in my bank, and I have an unallocated amount in my sinking funds. And I'm thinking what I could do is I could take that money and deposit it back into my bank. So 120 minus 108. So yeah, I'm going to take $12 from out of my unallocated sinking funds. Just in case if you're new here, guys, I have one of my pouch in my sinking funds binder unallocated, which is not towards any particular category yet. So I'm going to take that $12 out of there because I should have $12 in my unallocated. And I'm going to deposit that money in the bank. So another lesson I'm learning is the fact I definitely need to do my budget, do my cash allocations breakdown before I go to the ATM. And this is the first time this ever happened where I've overdrawn over what I'm able to budget for. Now, see, if I hadn't purchased that Jane Agenda box, I would have been okay. But I went to the ATM a couple of days before I started on this particular budget too. And I hadn't placed the Jane Agenda in my expenses, so I totally forgot about that. So let's go ahead and take $12 out of here so I can deposit this money, and I'm gonna have to update my sinking funds tracker in my other budget planner. I don't know. I probably should have did it another way instead of taking it out of the sinking funds. But I had already started doing the savings challenges. Like I've already done my faith and finance savings challenge for the week. So let me get my deposit cash envelope here so I can place the $12 in here. And this is my cash wallet, guys. Just in case if you're new here. So I still have money left over for my groceries and household. So I'm not adding any money to those categories today. But we can see how much money I have left in each. Alright, let me sort this money out. So we can actually see. So that's 25, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's my grocery category there. And just in case if you knew, it's just me. Alright, household, I have 5, 6, 7, 8, $9 left. Alright, so that's my cash wallet. And like I said, I won't be updating that this week. And it's just me. So it doesn't take much for just me. And I think that's basically it. But I do need to I think I need to make another notation in my planner so I know what's going on. And then I'm going to have to go update my spreadsheet as well. But guys, I want to thank you for joining me with today's paycheck budget of me closing out the previous one and sharing my lesson learned from taking a line of credit from my investment portfolio. Now, I'm glad that I had the money to take care of expenses, but the sad part about it, that's almost $17,000 gone. And I just pray that I'm able to I'm able to get a job offer, a full-time accounting job offer, that I could start back building that up and also building up my home sinking fund as well. So things occur that I can take care of the expenses without pulling from my investments. But that's my lesson learned for the week. And then another lesson learned is the fact I need to get down to start doing my cash breakdown for my saving challenges instead of just going to the ATM, taking it out, because you see I overdrawn for this week. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. Please like, share. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Have an awesome day. Toodles.